When you were a baby, you drank your mom's milk, and that was cool. But there's a baby cow out there, a calf. You're drinking his mom's milk. That's kind of weird. Yeah, I'm gonna be shitting on U.S. cow milk in this episode. Not necessarily dairy as a whole, because maybe I want to leave room to talk about cheese one day. But cow milk in the U.S. is kind of fucked up. And no, I'm not totally anti-dairy. Let me explain the stance that I take on dairy for my personal health as of right now. If there's a food product that contains milk, as it says on the packaging, I don't eat it. I don't drink it because I assume it's American cow milk. Now, American cows are usually ingested with a lot of growth hormone, and the milk itself has probably had a lot of shit done to it anyway. And I, quite frankly, I've had enough of that when I was a kid. I went through early puberty, probably because of those reasons. So as of now, I mostly drink nut milk. Used to be a lot of almond milk, but I've changed over to macadamia nut milk. I love it. But I actually do have some dairy. I have goat milk, which if you haven't had goat milk with some cereal or something else, it's awesome. So if I'm consuming dairy or milk of any kind, it's going to be from a goat or from a sheep. So sometimes I'll get, feta only from goats or sheep, some other kind of cheese only from goats or sheep. Even then, not even much cheese. And I'll get into more of the reasons later, but basically goats and sheep, their milk is easier to deal with for humans digestively, and they are less fuck with, I think. They're not as popular in America as the cows are, so I don't think mass produced is the word for it, because you I mean, yeah, I guess cows are mass produced too, but you know what I mean? They're not treated like products quite as much as cows are in terms of the goats and sheep. So I feel a little better about consuming that stuff. So that's where I stand with that for health purposes. I don't want a bunch of weird extra shit in me if I can avoid it. Now, I won't lie to you. There's a farmer's market around me, and there are a couple things there that have I'm assuming cow's milk from a farm where they say that they don't inject a bunch of shit into them. I gotta take their word for it, but even then, I'm not crazy with that. So basically, how it is for general normie shit. If it has milk in it, I don't really touch it. If it has some milk in it from cows from a farm or something directly, as directly as possible, maybe. If it's sheep or goat milk, yeah, it's all good. That's how it is right now for me in America. When I go to another developed country, I eat whatever the fuck because it's gonna be 40 times better than whatever we eat here at minimum. So that's cool. That's fine. But we're talking about the U.S. I didn't know this till just now, but did you know that 5 states, California, Wisconsin, Idaho, Texas, and New York, produce over half of the US milk supply? All comes from there. I wonder why. I get New York, California, big coastal cities. Wisconsin's close to Chicago. That's an important city. Texas is on, down there. It's a huge state. I get that. Idaho, why is that? I guess in the Midwest, it's a huge, I don't know, a lot of farmland, I suppose, but why aren't the other states with a lot of farmland also producing a lot of milk? I don't know. I don't know for sure. I mean, I can guess. Maybe something to do with bribery or something. I don't know. We'll see. And this is interesting. Milk production has increased by about 5 times in the last 100 years. I'm talking about 4,000 pounds per year of milk in 1925 to, well, 2007. I'm reading here, it was 20,000 pounds. That's already times 5. So add, a few extra years to make it a full 100, then yeah, it's over 5 times. Well, why the hell is that? Because the population, I don't think, has increased by 5 times in that time. So what are we consuming way more milk now? I mean, I believe it. The amount of shit that we put milk in this country is really odd. I remember the last few times I've been on a flight, they pass out, snacks, the shitty whatever snacks, right? They give us pretzels. I'm like, oh, nice, something I can eat, because the other shit is weird meat or something. And as with pretty much everything, I check the back, and these pretzels have milk in them. I'm wondering how the fucking hell do these pretzels have milk in them? They're one of those pretzels that have like the garlic flavoring, whatever, which usually means just some kind of weird powder on them. And I guess in that powder, there was milk. It's pretty fucking weird that when you get pretzels, you have to check them for milk. It's I don't know how we got here, but here we are. Holy shit, by the way, I misread something. When I was reading that stat about going from 4,000 pounds of milk to 20,000 pounds of milk. I'm not talking about for the whole country. That's per cow. My bad. That is per cow, which is fucking wild. That's way worse. Like for me, my dietary choices are not based on morality. I really don't give a fuck about about these animals. I'm gonna be real with you. I mean, if I see them in pain, it's gonna suck, of course. It's not gonna feel good, but that's not why I'm doing it. I choose my dietary habits for my own health. But they're extracting 5 times the milk each cow. Holy shit. Now that stat is extra fucked up. So either they're doing that by, I don't know, like they're injecting them to be super cows so they can generate more milk, or they are just draining the fucking life out of them. Even more so. That's insane. But added up all together, dairy industry makes about 220,000 million. Why the hell did they write it like this? So 220 billion pounds of milk as of like right before COVID. So pretty recently. That's fucking insane. Holy shit. Can you imagine anyone extracting 20,000 pounds of anything from you per year? Like even saliva. Holy shit. Have you seen Mad Max Fury Road where they have the milk wives? I wonder how many pounds of milk you can get out of a human per year. And as I just said, I don't really care about the animals in terms of making these decisions, but, reading here, they are treated pretty fucking poorly. More than half of cows are tethered by the neck. So they have, they're basically chained up, unable to perform basic natural behaviors, whatever that means. I guess they can't fuck each other or sleep properly. And half the cows are on farms that have 1,000 cows or more, which means that like half of cows are just crowded as hell at all times. It's pretty wild, TBH. Now, here's what I mentioned earlier about you sucking cow milk. It's kind of weird compared to sucking your mom's milk. I don't know why I'm phrasing it that way, but 2/3 of people, I don't know if you know this, 2/3 of people in the world are lactose intolerant. So all this milk and shit we're getting fed is actually not great for our insides for the majority of people. In fact, I know someone who stopped drinking cow milk. They switched over to nut milk and other stuff, and their skin just got way better. That was interesting. Milk is, again, with the lactose intolerance, is one of the most common food allergies, especially in children. And cow's milk contains growth hormones in general, and IGF-1, which may influence human hormone levels. And I'm sure that they're injected with steroids so they can make more milk, and that adds to the hormone stuff. Again, that's why I had a mustache at 11, probably. I ate a lot of cereal with a lot of milk. And I didn't know this, which is not confirmed, but there's a suggestion here of a link between dairy milk and acne in teenagers, which would make a fuck ton of sense, honestly. Apparently, there's a link to certain cancers and stuff, but everything links to cancer in some way or another, right? So whatever. This one's interesting and it makes sense. Due to the use of antibiotics in dairy farming for these cows, for the people who consume a lot of milk, that might result in some antibiotic resistance concerns for them, which will fuck up your health in other ways later. So I want to get into something I mentioned in the previous episode, which is basically the role of milk in public schools, because I find this interesting. So the National School Lunch Program, which I'm assuming is only American, serves about 30 million children daily with milk as a required component. Now, the National School Lunch Program requires milk to be offered with every single school meal. And this whole thing goes back a few years ago when the relationship between the dairy industry and schools began, built on the notion, which is outdated, by the way, that cow's milk is essential for children's health. By the way, this is an issue with parents just telling their kids whatever. Just say, oh, yeah, little Tommy, this works that way. I thought when I was younger, because you would hear, oh, milk helps, your bones. I mean, first of all, I don't think it's that much of a help, honestly. I don't know how much of an effect it has, but not anywhere near enough to be drinking milk like most people do. But what I thought when I was younger, because milk is white, bones look white, I thought, oh, we drink milk and it coats our bones, making it stronger when it hardens. My mom was like, yeah. She should have said no. Don't let your kids believe dumb shit. Holy hell. There's a big economic incentive for kids to be drinking all this milk. The dairy industry itself relies heavily on school programs for revenue. As of relatively recently, like 70% of dairy farmers, their revenue is dependent on government support, which I'm assuming funnels right into the schools. And for school lunch programs to even be reimbursed, they have to provide milk. They have to offer milk with every meal, or else they're not getting a reimbursement from the government or whoever else. So it's not that they necessarily can't leave out the milk, it's that if they don't offer milk, they're not gonna have money to do any of this shit. This is like a thing that the dairy industry constantly lobbies for. Actively, they do this, even going against things that could possibly reduce dairy consumption. Which, again, going back to my initial point, dairy isn't inherently, evil. It's just with a lot of other foods, they're just kind of better alternatives. And again, I'm mostly talking about cow milk in America. So the fact that some changes could possibly lower dairy consumption a bit, and then the dairy industry is like, nah, we gotta shove that in there. No, no, no. We got a lot of cows, we got a lot of milk. You gotta use it. There's even federal laws that forbid schools from interfering with the sales or marketing of dairy on school grounds, which is fucked. As I mentioned in the previous episode, it's kind of like the mob with milk. It's fucking weird. I don't really know why they do this. I'm assuming it's a sunk cost fallacy. They just have so many juiced up cows on so many farms that they just made the system where they have to keep paying these farmers so they can keep putting this milk in school so kids grow up to love milk and then they keep buying milk in that way. It's just like a weird milk propaganda machine. Now, if we could get milk, pretty directly from farms that didn't have weird juiced up cows, I don't think this would be a huge issue. Like I said, digestion wise, it's not, cow milk isn't ideal for people, but many things aren't. So, I mean, it could be better. The system we have with this cow milk stuff, but the way it is now, it's kind of it's kind of fucking weird. I'll be honest with you. Now, the reason I do prefer goat and sheep milk and dairy type of stuff is because the way that the fat exists in goat and sheep milk, it's just like smaller, basically. So it's usually easier to digest for most people. And the proteins as well in goat and sheep milk are a bit different as well. And some people find it easier to, I won't say digest, but to kind of take in, absorb, whatever. And a lot of time, the sheep and goat milk, they have higher levels of calcium and some vitamins compared to cow's milk. So it's just, I mean, goat and sheep milk is just, it's just better than cow milk in pretty much every way, except for taste necessarily, because you can't account for taste. But I do think goat milk tastes better than cow milk. I have not had sheep milk directly, but I've had sheep cheese and it's awesome. So I recommend that if you can. The only place I've ever seen goat milk out in the public is Whole Foods, and that shit is expensive. So I don't really get it often, but the option's there. The option is there. Now, a lot of that goat milk, though, and other stuff has very high amount of calories, though. So if you're calorie conscious, I wouldn't necessarily go for that. Maybe you could find some nut milk. I recommend macadamia nut milk, to be honest with you. I used to be really big into almond milk. I still get it when I'm desperate, but I don't know. I'm looking at the back of stuff, foodstuffs recently. Be more mindful of how many ingredients there are in things. And for almond milk, it's like a lot of shit. Actually, I do have almond milk and macadamia nut milk right now because the place I usually get macadamia nut milk was out before, so I took almond milk. I'm looking at the ingredients right now. I think they have the same fucking amount of ingredients. They both have, gelin gum, whatever that is, natural flavor, whatever the fuck that is. So I don't know. I guess it's the same shit, isn't it? Why on earth do we have to put weird gums and shit in our fucking food and drink? Now there are brands that have much fewer ingredients that I usually get. Try to usually get. That shit is like 3 times the cost. You really got to pay a lot if you don't want garbage in your food. I'm kind of getting what people mean when they say eating healthy is expensive. I would say overall, not necessarily, because you can buy a lot of what I would call neutral foods and ingredients and cook your own stuff. And in that sense, it is way cheaper to eat healthier than just go to fucking McDonald's every day. But I will say, if you're being really, really serious about not eating a whole bunch of extra shit that's weird, yeah, those brands cost a lot more. Couldn't tell you what percentage better they are for your health necessarily, but if one brand is like nuts, water, the other one's like, blah blah blah, gum, natural flavor, I would prefer the one that has the least amount of things in it. Not necessarily because all the extra stuff is like super bad. It's just like why does it need to even be there? The others, I just need the other stuff to drink. That's it. Anyway, consider nut milks maybe. Or if you live next to a farm with goats, that's great. Go for that. Honestly, I would recommend if you can find this might come up in a lot of future episodes. Just if you can find the farmers market, I know it's fucking expensive, but if you can get a lot of stuff from there, it would be great for health. There's just an obvious difference between getting it from a supermarket and getting it from some fucking guy who came to this place from his farm. Honestly, you would be surprised. You really would. I got some honey from the store a while back, and it's fine. It's honey. It's sweet. It's nice, right? And I, saw honey at a farmer's market, and I figure, how different could it be? I mean, I'm curious, but I don't think it's gonna be that crazy. Dead fucking wrong. That farmer's market honey is incredible, very noticeably better, and I don't fucking know why. It's either in the process of getting to the supermarkets, there's some shit added to it, or it's fucked with in some way to make it. And that's not to say things that taste better are healthier necessarily. We know that's not true. But if it tastes better and it's kind of directly from a bee's ass or whatever, then it's probably because of that, because it's, more natural than getting it from supermarket. So that applies to milk and whatever. If you really want it, I would try that. Go to a farmer's market if you can. And, maybe consider just drinking less of that shit to begin with, because I don't think you need 2 bowls of cereal per day. Honestly, for me, the most milk consumption I have is from nut milk and when I make shakes or smoothies. Because I'm not one of those fucking weirdos who uses water with their protein shakes or whatever. That's so weird. It can work, but it's so odd. And if you put in some kind of milk, whether it's real or nut milk or whatever, plant-based stuff, it's noticeably better than just putting in water. I don't understand those fucking animals. So I need something just for that purpose, honestly. Anyway, yeah, just try to consume less of it if you can, or get it from a farm if you want. The main point is if something comes from another animal's tits and it's at the supermarket, consider looking into it. Maybe consider an alternative. Just saying. Because while getting it from an animal's tits might not be necessarily bad, getting it from the supermarket as well, it's probably foul play. Just saying. But look into it yourself, of course, for your own health. Let me know in the comments. Are you one of those people who drinks a gallon of milk a day? Do you have diarrhea often? Let me know. Anyway, see you next time.